complex, maybe not so complex for you and for I, but you find some things complex that ordinarily one wouldn't find complex. The reason the state is not recommending a deferred adjudication is that he has a prior offense of this nature. And that is because he does have some difficulty with complex issues. It's kind of like intellectual limitation, difficult to argue.
So why is he driving?
Enjoy the video, hit the like button.
State of Texas versus Felipe Salazar. Can I have parties announced for the record, please, for the state?
Marcus Sanders.
For the defense?
Paul Gopi representing Mr. Salazar, Your Honor.
And are you Mr. Salazar?
Yes, ma'am.
Defense, I'm showing you the discovery acknowledgement. Have you received all the discovery in this case? And did you review it with your client?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am, I have.
All right, the court will find that the state is in compliance with the discovery. Mr. Salazar, I'm showing you what's entitled True Bill of Indictment. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
We do, Your Honor.
State, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented?
No, Judge, we're proceeding on count 2, waiving count 1.
That's my understanding, Your Honor. There's no
Any
objection to the waiver.
objections? Any objections?
There's no objection to the waiver.
Mr. Salazar, I'm showing you what's entitled Application for Deferred Adjudication. Did you review this document with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
Next, I'm going to show you what's entitled Court Admonishments and Defendant's Waivers and Affidavit or Admonitions. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you're charged with in count 2, failure to stop and render aid with a moving vehicle. The range of punishment for that offense is up to 5 years in TDC or prison, with a possible fine up to $5,000 and up to 1 year in the Bexar County Jail. Did you understand that to be the range of punishment?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so there's extra writing here.
Yeah, it's
About
set
the
up as a
defendant.
no contest plea, ma'am.
No, I know it's a no contest plea, but he's entering this plea and he doesn't have the right to remain silent if I want to ask him questions about this case.
Oh, yeah, there's an addition there. It says unless and until. One never knows what questions are coming. I doubt you'll ask him about some other crime, but these rights are continuing rights and can be urged by you at any time in the proceeding. And so it's a theoretical possibility that something outside of this matter could be asked of him by the prosecutor judge, theoretically. And
No,
for that reason,
I understand what you're saying, counsel, but no, that can't be in there. If he wants to invoke his right to the Fifth Amendment, he can do that. But for any question related to this case, any question related to this plea, he's giving up his right to remain silent.
That's
So
what it
adding
says.
that caveat, well, then that needs to be removed because it already says it in there.
Oh, okay. I believe that it says exactly what you're saying, but if you're recognizing that, well, it's really not important. It's just an abundance of caution.
All right, reviewing States Exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty. Court will defer finding of guilt as you apply for deferred adjudication. Are you proceeding with sentencing?
Yes, ma'am. We're ready to proceed if the court will let me make presentations to the court about some issues.
Yes.
So if I'm a little bit less than direct, it's only to be very, very polite. Mr. Salazar has some difficulties with things that are complex, maybe not so complex for you and for I, but you find some things complex that ordinarily one wouldn't find complex. The reason the state is not recommending a deferred adjudication is that he has a prior offense of this nature. And that is because he does have some difficulty with complex issues. It's kind of like intellectual limitation, difficult to argue.
So why is he driving?
No, it's not like that. It's just he has trouble with complex issues, not mechanical skills, not motor
So
skills.
it's complex to stop if you're at an accident?
Well, so he has a misunderstanding about something, Your Honor. It's actually a type of crime in some countries in Latin America to have a motor vehicle collision. It's a crime in the civil realm. And somehow or another, he was confused about that. I have explained to him that if he has a collision, he has to stop and stay at the scene. And he now understands that. He never really got that before. And that's why, and I didn't represent him in his prior plea.
Okay, so his prior plea, I'm assuming that someone told him
No,
if
no.
he was charged with, was his prior plea the same thing, failure to stop and render aid?
I think he had a prior offense like that.
Failure to stop and give info.
Right.
All right,
Yeah.
so he knows he needs to stop.
Well, I don't know that it was adequately explained to him because he has that kind of difficulty, Ron. I now know it's you understand now in a collision, you stay at the scene,
I'll
right?
stay there. Yeah, I'll stay there.
So how is he passing his driver's test if he doesn't understand complex things? Because the last time I took a driver's test, which has been many years, but they ask you questions like, you know, how many feet you're supposed to be behind the car. They ask you questions about when an accident's happened, or if there's an emergency vehicle, do you pull over to the left or do you pull over to the right? So I understand this complex, difficult
That's,
thing.
yeah, those, what you've just articulated is not particularly complex. This is a concept that he just really didn't grasp in my discussions with him.
Okay.
I can tell you that, you know. I went to great lengths to break through that, but it's a simplicity thing, if you will.
I'm just having a hard time understanding what is complex about, I hit a vehicle, I need to stay instead of going blocks away or wherever he was, I don't know how many miles it was, changing his tire. And he had damage to his vehicle and damage to the other person's vehicle.
He gets that now. I don't believe he got that before, Judge. This is my honest representation to the bench.
But isn't changing a tire complex?
No, not at all.
Okay. All right, I understand. Do you want to call him as a witness or not?
No, ma'am. No, it would just kind of, no telling.
Okay, all right, state you're opposed.
Yes, Judge. Our position is because he's committed a similar offense back in 2013. He was convicted of it. He's been given deferred on a less than a gram before, so he's been on probation. He's been given opportunities. He's still committing offenses. Don't necessarily buy the defense that Mr. Doki is raising, and so that's why we're asking for probation as opposed to defer.
And in brief reply, he didn't necessarily buy it. He's not interacted with the gentleman to the degree that I have. I'm telling you, I have encountered this kind of
No, I
intellectual
understand, and
challenge.
I understand you have a different communication with him, and the state hasn't
Right.
communicated with him.
Right.
So I see here aggressive driving course. I don't think he needs an aggressive driving course. I don't think he needs to be driving. And isn't the aggressive driving course, won't that be complex?
Well, so I don't know, not having taken it. I'm telling you that I have had some difficulty explaining some things to this gentleman. I am confident that his waivers are voluntary and he knows what he's doing here.
And he's confident.
Oh, yeah, yes, yeah. But there's a whole range there, ma'am. I'm just telling you that he has some communication difficulties, I have found.
All right.
So I just ask you to not give him, to give him a final chance to not have the effects of a felony conviction on his record. That's what I'm asking for.
All right, Mr. Salazar, is there anything you wish to say?
No, ma'am.
Are you sure?
You can talk to her if you want. You want deferred adjudication so you don't have a felony conviction on your record?
Yeah, I want.
Are you gonna obey the law now?
Yes, I obey the law now.
You now know if you run into somebody or they run into you, whatever, you have to stay there.
Yeah, I'll stay there.
Well, I mean, state you have questions?
I do, Judge. Has he been sworn in or?
No, he was sworn in by the clerk,
Okay.
so he's under oath.
Okay. Mr. Salazar, where were you born?
San Antonio.
Okay. So when your attorney mentioned other countries that not being an offense, you're aware that it's an offense here, correct?
Yes,
Okay. And did you grow up here in the United States?
yes.
Have you ever lived outside of the United States?
No,
And when you committed the offense in 2013, you were placed on deferred for that? When you hit a vehicle and you drove off?
Mhm.
What did you learn from that incident?
I just, I need to stay in, where the accident was.
Okay, so you did learn that back in
Yeah.
2013.
I just got scared and just took off.
No further questions, Judge.
Any other questions, Mr. Goku?
Yes, so Felipe, when we were in the back, we were talking and I asked you, well, why did you leave? And you said to me, because I was afraid I would be arrested, right?
Yes,
And I told you, well, you wouldn't have been arrested if you hadn't
Okay.
left,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then you said that you always get arrested if there's a collision, but in fact, you had
Yeah,
left before, right?
yeah, I left it. Yeah,
You now get it that when
sir.
there is a collision, you stay.
I'll stay. Yes, sir.
Yeah, it was, I'm telling you, there's some communications that were very, very difficult for me, man. So I'm trying to say.
So, Mr. Salazar, so what you're saying is you left the scene because you thought you would be arrested?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, are you employed?
Working, yes.
What do you do?
Diesel mechanic repair.
All right, I don't understand the aggressive driving course request because this is an aggressive driving issue. I don't see anything to suggest that he was driving aggressively. I think this is he doesn't stop and give information like the law says he's supposed to. So, he needs a course on give information when you're in an accident.
He got
I
that
just
from
gave you
me.
the course.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, this is what the courts do. Court's gonna find you guilty, sentence you to 5 years in prison, suspended and probated for 5 years. There's a $500 fine that will be probated. Taking consideration 671-850. Restitution and no contact with Carolyn Haywood. 150 hours of community service restitution. 40 of those hours will be waived if you provide proof of the COVID vaccination. The court is not requiring you to get the COVID vaccination, but if you do, 40 of those hours will be waived. There's to be regular reporting to probation by Zoom or in person. If you're drug tested today, what are the results going to be?
The judge is asking you if you take any kind of drugs.
No.
Okay. There'll be regular UAs. Field visits, 1 time per month, regular. And I'll put in here the aggressive driving course. Once you complete the aggressive driving course, the remainder of your community service hours will be waived. Proof of employment within 15 days. There's to be no employment as a home health care provider or with minors. Probation, is there anything else that he needs?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Salazar, is there anything else that you need from the court?
No, ma'am.
All right. I'm going to show you what's entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it and did you sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
Because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed the plea bargain agreement, and because you waive your right, Mr. Duffy,
Oh, thank you.
because this is a plea bargain agreement, because you waive your right to appeal, and because I followed your plea bargain agreement, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Because this is a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you'll need to speak to your attorney. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that if you're involved in an accident, you must remain?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Is there anything that you don't understand about the law of failure to stop and render aid or failure to stop when involved in an accident?
I understand now.
All right, thank you. Probation will be out to talk to you. Good luck to you.
All right, thank you.
You're waiting for probation.